Okay, Jason Mumo, JM on the fly, and I am going to tie a weighted. In this case, it's a triple threat, but I'm going to show you a couple processes of what you could do. Put a bead head on there, and that shows me when I look in my box, and you should do something like this, that's a weighted fly. That's what that tells me, so that I know if I need to get a little deeper, I'm going to grab one with a bead. And this is for my small flies, basically trout patterns, things of that nature. It'll either be like this, or if I do the fold over or something like that, they'll have lead in and I'll know it. So one way or another, you need to know which flies in your box are weighted, which ones are not. Okay, let's take a look at this guy. Zoom in here a little bit and we'll get to the tying portion. And you see this little guy here. Beautiful little fly. That got a little bit of everything in it, so let's begin. This is like anything you want to tie in the 1.5 to 2 inch zone. Works really well with this. I'm going to take a little bit of a, I'm going to use a size 4 SC15. Okay, and then I'm going to place that in the vise just like that. We're going to take some .025 lead. Exactly 6 wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cut that off as tight as possible there. Bend that down. Cut that off as tight as possible there. So you see we got a little lead, and let me see if I can get it zoomed in even a little better. Okay. Oh, that's pretty good there. That's actually pretty decent. Okay. Again, I'm going with mono because we use these in salt water, so I got the mono. And this is my favorite mono, which is a Danville Fine. Come up over, and if you take notice, I left a little bit of gap between the eye and the lead. Okay? Again, tying it to the back, cut that off with the scissors. Going to take a piece of marabou, and again, rather than just pulling this straight off and getting all these tips straight like we would with a woolly bugger, turn that baby on its side like that, make it arch, and then grab a pile of these feathers, and you can see when I trim that off, they're uneven. Okay? So basically all the tips do not line up. Okay? Put that on. I want to make sure this thing's at least twice as long as the hook shank. At least twice as long as the hook shank. Well, we only have about 3/4 here, so another 3/4 and another 3/4 right there will be good. So when we're all said and done, if I were to take the total length of that, we're looking at about 2 inches there. Okay? Again, tie that in the back behind the lead, 1 wrap behind to hike it up, and then we're going to take our craft fur brush, okay, and this is what I call the stuff that you would throw away. Okay, so I call this a free craft fur, and this is all the stuff after tying the long stuff that you peel off. Check out my videos on how to create these brushes if you never checked that out. Anyway, we're going to come in, we're going to find the end of the wire, and we're going to tie that in, and this is just twisted into a wire, the brush, and we're going to tie that in right here at the base. I'm going to lift this up and we're going to make a wrap around just like this. Now, if I would continue this straight up, the whole way up to the eye, and just keep wrapping that brush, I would end up with this little guy. Okay, and this is wet. This is what it looks like wet. And it's a beautiful, beautiful small minnow pattern. Okay, but I'm going to do what I call the triple threat weighted. So we're going to come around here so we have 1 wrap. Again, pulling back the fibers, I'm going to come up and I'm going to tie that off right there. Okay? So basically just like 1.5 wraps of that. Come in, make sure you grab that little piece of wire. Again, come in with the pliers and wrap that around. Tie that in, and then take your brush and comb that out. Okay, and you'll see what that looks like there. Beautiful. I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to flip this upside down, I'm going to carve out any hairs that would be on the underside of my hook. Okay, freeing the gap, just like that. Okay, so now we got a little bit of blue in there. Okay, going to come over, we're going to grab a couple feathers, and we're going to put those in. Basically the same as if you saw the triple threat, we're going to be tying this the same way. And we call it the triple threat because of the three materials that we're using. We got the marabou tail, which moves like crazy in the water. We have the craft fur, which moves like crazy in the water. And then we got the other fiber that moves absolutely unbelievable in the water, and that is feathers. Take two feathers. In fact, I'll do this the opposite way. We'll place them on the camera side, the length. And we'll tie them in to the side, just like that. Okay, so those two feathers to the side, and we'll take two more feathers, tie them to the side, okay, to my side, and we'll wrap them in. And again, we're just tying back a little bit. And you can see pretty much what we created there. You got two feathers on that side, two feathers on that side, sticking out if you look at the fly. Don't worry about them laying back yet. We'll take care of that in a minute. Come back in, trim off your tags. Let's lay this down, come front, and then come back. We're going to come back to create enough of space and kind of lay them back. They'll be laid back yet because we're going to put another brush in there. As far as the top, you can use dark feathers up back over the top. You can use peacock, which is what I'm going to use here in this case. So we're going to take some peacock, let that lay right over the back. Tie that in, just like that. Again, don't worry about this all laying into each other. See how it's all splayed out right now? My brush will help pull that all together, okay? I'm going to take a little brush right here, and this of course is another fine brush. Same stuff that you would throw away. Small craft fur, small fiber. And we're going to tie that in right behind the bead. Okay, and tie that back. That little bit of gap that we have there, and work your thread into that groove that we have left behind the bead. We're going to kind of pull this out as we turn it. And again, just working the fibers out, just like that. We're going to come right behind the bead and tie that off. Just a couple wraps, that's all we need. In fact, that's only like one wrap that I put on there for that color. Reach in, cut off your brush, cut off your brush just like that. I don't like them rough ends. Okay, let's go and find our, right there I have my wire. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a little piece of wire there. We're going to make sure we have that included. And then we're going to just push that down so it will go underneath the bead, just like that. Come right behind the bead, whip finish off, just like this. And clean up. Okay, grab the brush, comb this whole thing back, right through everything. Don't worry about hurting anything. You're not going to hurt anything. Everything's tied in there with wire. There's no way any of that could come out. Again, flip it upside down, clear your hook gap from that front brush, and you see how nice and clean that is to the hook. Okay, when this fishes, this will come trailing back just like that, just like the other fly as soon as that gets wet. And again, if you don't want the feathers, or you just want to go with the craft fur and the marabou, that's what that thing will look like wet. This thing here, if I wet this, and you can see me starting to get it wet, you can see what that thing will look like, you know, in the water when it's all said and done and wet. And that is the weighted, my weighted small streamer, hair streamer, or I guess we would call it the triple threat, you know, the weighted triple threat. So it's a JM triple threat weighted, or the JM craft fur brush, free craft fur brush fly. Either one. Both nice, beautiful little patterns for your trout boxes or small stuff. Also awesome for night snooking. Okay, that's pretty much the fly. JM on the fly, and I am out of here.